Joining me via Skype to talk about Libra is tech journalist Charles Arthur. Charles, good evening and thank you so much for joining us on The Globe.
Pleasure. Good evening.
Now, Charles, would you trust Facebook with your money?
Well, that's a slightly complicated question because it's not actually Facebook which is going to be organizing this. It's an independent group called the Libra Association, which Facebook is helping to set up. Facebook is one of the members. But the important thing is that Facebook will provide the verification for who you are when you want to transfer money to someone else. So the money is effectively something which is just digital. Facebook provides the identity of who you're sending it to.
Now, a major target market for Libra are the users in developing countries. Why is this the case?
Because there are so many people who don't have bank accounts because it's expensive for them to have bank accounts. And Facebook believes that these are people who have Facebook accounts or WhatsApp accounts or Instagram accounts indeed, because it owns all three of those networks, and that they'd be able to provide a mechanism by identifying who they are to let them transfer money between them. The difficulty is that the reason why these people don't have a bank account tends not to be because there's no identification. It's more because it's expensive to have a bank account because banks want to know who you are, and you need to have a certain amount of money for it to be economic for the banks to provide that bank account to you. So the question of why are people unbanked tends not to be about, is it easy for them to use money? Because obviously they're using money already, they're using cash. The difficulty is about, can you identify who they are? Who are they transferring money to? And it's the bigger question of who are people transferring money between, who are they sending it to, that actually has regulated worry. It's not about the small people sending small amounts of money. It's about people sending very large amounts of money, which might be very.
Now, your layman's guide as to how this crypto will be rolled out is basically going to be rolled out in some time to come. How is this going to work, and how are they going to ensure that people have a good understanding of what exactly Libra is and how it works?
Honestly, at the moment, there are so many gaps in our knowledge about how this is going to function, precisely how secure it will be, how it will be secured, whether there will be oversight of it, whether central banks will have any say in it, whether you'll be able to identify yourself only to Facebook when you're transferring money, or whether central banks will also get to see this, or governments will be able to see who's transferring money. There's a huge number of questions which we simply don't know the answer to, because the Libra Association is only about a week old, and they themselves really don't know all the answers.
Now, we already know that it is going to be benchmarked against major currencies, and with Facebook's plans to compete with the already existing cryptocurrencies, how is this going to work?
So what will happen is that you will put some of your normal money that you'd use for normal spending, you'll transfer it somehow, you'll pay it in somehow to a Facebook account. It might be via a credit card, it might be at a physical location, and you will get credit for a certain number of Libras in return, which will be credited to your Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram, or indeed many other companies will deal in Libras, companies such as Spotify, for example. And then you'll be able to buy goods and services with it, or you'll be able to transfer it to someone else. They will then be able to go to their bank or get it added to their credit card, rather as you took it out, or rather as you put it in, they'll take it out. But the value of the Libra is going to be, so the Libra Association says, guaranteed against a large basket of major currencies such as the dollar, the yen, the pound sterling, the euro, and so on, so that its value shouldn't fluctuate too much. It's not really a cryptocurrency in the strict sense. It's much more like what is known as an exchange-traded fund. It's something where they have a basket of currencies where its value should roughly remain the same.
Now, is Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency announcement case for celebration for billions of unbankable people?
I think that the warning that you described just earlier in this package is actually one that should be taken seriously. Facebook thought that it was going to be a great idea to let everyone be connected and that privacy was a thing of the past. And we've seen that the effects have been very negative in some places. So, for example, in Myanmar, Facebook was a key factor in spreading fake news, which led to genocide of Rohingya Muslims. So that's one example where you can see that it's been negative. And South Africa itself has seen the effect of fake news spread through Facebook. It's not positive. So I think that Facebook, in its optimism about what Libra could do, possibly hasn't considered the downsides. Obviously, they're just like, they'd like to think of all the good things it's going to do. But I think that they really haven't considered what might happen when you have this happening at scale, when you have millions or even billions of people using this. Effectively transferring money across borders with no abilities for governments to monitor those flows at all, unless that is Facebook lets governments monitor those flows, see who's transferring money in order to avoid money laundering, people stealing on a gigantic scale, as we've seen some dictators do from some countries.
Now, which comes to my next question, Charles. You've observed this development very closely, and one of the grey areas Facebook would have to face head-on are privacy and regulation issues. Can the tech giant safely navigate this arena?
I think that where money is concerned, that governments and banks are much more wary, because you're really dealing with people's livelihoods. To some extent, it doesn't matter if you just are talking about a photo that someone took the other day, whether it gets shown around the world or not. But if you're talking about money, people's actual bank balances, that's a much different question. And I think that it would be good to hear Facebook being a bit more cautious in the language about this, rather than being so gung-ho and excited as it seems to be.
Privacy issues have been brought to the fore. Some experts are already worried, cautioning that Libra through Facebook will invade people's privacy. Why is this the case?
There are some concerns about how you'll find out what someone's balance is. There seems to be an implication in the white paper as it stands that if you send some money to someone, then you know what their Libra wallet, that it's called, what the wallet number is, and that possibly you could therefore, by knowing that wallet number, track what their balance is forever after. Facebook has said that it's not going to use information about transactions, which it will be able to see, but it's not going to use those to sell targeted advertising. But I think that's a pretty slim assurance, because there are so many other ways in which you could be tracked through this. Would it sell the data to other companies? Would some of the members of the Libra Association take that data and use it in their own way? I think that questions of privacy do come quite high in this, because Facebook doesn't have a good reputation here.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave it there for now. That is technology journalist Charles Arthur joining us via Skype.